Have you ever walked out of a meeting and just thought to yourself, wow, that was a complete waste of time? Well, today we're going to explore the one skill that's designed to fix exactly that, the art of facilitation. We're going to walk through a structured 10-week journey that can take team collaboration from, well, frustrating to truly functional.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You're in a meeting that just goes around in circles, or a project just completely stalls because of team friction. Maybe a brilliant idea gets totally lost in all the noise. This is the exact problem that a skilled facilitator is trained to solve.
So, what is facilitation at its core? It's really just the art of making things easier. See, a facilitator doesn't lead the group to a specific answer. Instead, they design and guide a process that helps the group find its own best answer and do it efficiently and collaboratively.
Okay, so our journey has to begin with the foundation. And this isn't about learning a few clever meeting tricks. No, it's about adopting a completely new mindset about what your role is inside a group.
And here's a really key distinction. Unlike a trainer, who's the subject matter expert there to give you answers, a facilitator is a neutral guide. They're an expert in the process. Their job is to ask really powerful questions and to manage the group's energy, not to lecture or push their own agenda.
And this work is actually guided by professional standards, like these core competencies from the International Association of Facilitators. You can think of them as the 6 pillars that hold up the whole practice. For instance, create and sustain a participatory environment. That means the facilitator is the one who's actively responsible for making sure everyone feels safe enough and empowered enough to contribute their ideas. A great facilitator also gets that groups have a natural life cycle. They start in that initial kind of polite forming stage. Then they move into the inevitable conflicts of storming. A facilitator's job is to guide the group through that, help them establish norms, and finally get to that high-functioning performing stage. It's a pretty predictable journey, if you know the map. All right, so with that foundation in place, it's time to assemble your toolkit. These are the practical, hands-on methods and frameworks that help you structure really productive conversations. One of the most fundamental concepts is something called divergence. Think of this as the brainstorming phase. The goal here is to just generate as many ideas and possibilities as you possibly can. No idea is a bad idea at this point. The entire focus is on thinking as expansively as possible. But after you've gone wide with all those ideas, you have to narrow them down, and that is convergence. It's the process of analyzing, sorting, and prioritizing those ideas to make clear decisions and define what the action steps are. A truly great facilitator has mastered the rhythm between these two modes. Now, a really powerful tool for this whole process is the ORID method. It guides a conversation through a very natural sequence. You start with the objective facts, then you move to reflective feelings, then to interpretation, what it all means, and finally to a decision. This structure is amazing because it stops groups from jumping straight to conclusions. But underpinning all of these tools is communication mastery, and it's so much more than just talking. We're talking about active listening, mastering how you ask questions, paraphrasing to make sure everyone is actually on the same page, and even using your body language to manage the room's energy. Okay, so now you've got the tools, but you need to be ready to navigate the challenges that, let's be honest, inevitably pop up in any group setting.
Oh, you've met these people before. The person who just dominates the conversation. The one who blocks every single idea. The person having a side chat. A good facilitator doesn't get rattled. For a dominator, they might just say, "That's a great point, thank you." To make sure we hear all the voices here, let's hear from someone who hasn't spoken yet. It's all about using neutral, process-oriented techniques.
And this is so important. The goal is not a conflict-free zone. Healthy conflict is often absolutely necessary for growth and for innovation. The facilitator's real job is to make that conflict constructive, guiding the group through that disagreement and toward a consensus they can all actually support.
Of course, collaboration today isn't just happening in a conference room. The journey to mastery has to include navigating our digital and hybrid world.
And that means mastering a whole new set of tools. Platforms like Zoom for communication, digital whiteboards like Miro for collaborative brainstorming, and engagement tools like Mentimeter for doing quick, anonymous polls. These are now essential for any facilitator's toolkit. Probably the biggest challenge in this hybrid world is creating a seamless conversation that gives an equal voice to the people in the physical room and those joining remotely. It requires such intentional design to make sure those virtual participants feel just as engaged as everyone else. This is really the new frontier of facilitation.
And that brings us to the final part of our journey, really understanding that becoming a great facilitator is a continuous, ongoing practice.
Because here's the thing, true mastery isn't about getting a certificate. It is forged in practice, facilitating short sessions, getting direct feedback from your peers based on those professional competencies, and being truly committed to your own personal growth plan.
And this entire journey, from that initial mindset shift to mastering the tools to navigating conflict, it all unfolds systematically over 10 weeks, building one skill right on top of the next.
So, I guess it leaves us with one final question. Armed with these skills, with this new way of thinking about collaboration, what is the first meeting, the first project, the first conversation that you are going to transform?
The curriculum framework for this explainer was provided by Winstar Consulting. If you're interested in diving deeper into this 10-week journey, you can reach out to them directly. The contact info is right there on the screen.